What up, G-Life fam? It's your boy MC Shadow coming at you with another video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, check out the playlist. The playlist on top will have all the videos in their own folder. Makes the video you're looking for a lot easier. Now, what I wanted to talk about today, like it says on the headline right there, the purpose of the gangs. What was the purpose of a gang? I have made a video of like why the gangs start and stuff like that. You know, you could go check that out. It's in the Hood Talk folder. You know, where I explain, why I think, the gang started and stuff like that. But what was the purpose of the gangs when they first started right here in Los Angeles? Gangs have existed in Los Angeles already, and I mean street gangs. I don't mean like mob groups like the Italian Mafia or the Russian Mafia. None of those kind of groups. I mean like street gangs. They have existed in Los Angeles since the 1800s. I know some people think that the oldest gangs in Los Angeles is like Maravilla, Wyfens, but they are not. There was gangs that had been around way before them. You know what I mean? Like Macy Street, like Alpine Street, like La Loma, like the Royal Saints, like Dogtown, like Temple, like Clover, just to name a few. That have already been around, for a while, like Alpine, Macy's, La Loma, Dogtown, and all those gangs had been around already since the 1891, around there, is when those neighborhoods started, which was in the close to the it was in like downtown Los Angeles, close to like almost where the Pico Aliso projects were at, where it's Primera Flats and all that come from. Close to those areas is where, these first barrios, started. And when gangs first started, they weren't just like Hispanic gangs. You know what I mean? A lot of them had a lot of Jewish, Russians, Filipinos, Italians, Irish. It was made out of the minorities. You know what I mean? Because they were getting picked against. You know what I mean? They were getting bullied, mistreated. There was a whole lot of racism. You know what I mean? For all of them individuals equally. So, they banded together to defend themselves. You know what I mean? Gangs, what it is now and what it was then are two whole different things. You know what I mean? They had started out of necessity, right? To look after one another, to protect each other, to have each other's back. And yada yada. It wasn't for drug sale, gun sale, because back then they didn't even pack guns. It was like chains, bats, things like that to defend themselves. Because people forget that how these areas are now is nothing like how they were back then. There was hardly no Hispanics, you know what I mean, or like Asians, or there was a lot of whites around, and you know what I mean. So they were driving these pickup trucks and bomb on the raza, you know what I mean? And all minorities, they would just hog tie them and do all kinds of shit, man. You know what I mean? Because it was a gang of them. Everybody was outnumbered, pues. That's how many white individuals there were. You know what I mean? And there was a lot of like racism back then. Like the Ku Klux Klan had like a strong presence over here, and all of that. You know what I mean? Still has a presence till nowadays, just not as it used to. Before it was massive. Because people forget how large the Ku Klux Klan is. Their numbers are like a lie. You know what I mean? I had seen that roughly in California there was like about 20,000 members or something like that. I had seen the dad said. So that's a lot. You know what I mean? So they would defend themselves. So there wasn't no like graffiti, none of that. You know what I mean? It was just that's why people don't roughly hear that much about these barrios and stuff like that. You know what I mean? The earliest taggings you could find of them is like around the they have some that has been around since the 1891. that they have some graffiti, from 1891. But just like, in the cement and stuff like that, and they used to actually go by their real names and not like street nicknames back then. Like I said, what it is now and what it was then is two different things. You know what I mean? As time went by and people started committing crimes and stuff like that, they would have to use, an alias, that way, the cops wouldn't find out, who they were and stuff like that. So instead of introducing themselves by their real names, where they could be tracked down a lot faster, they would use nicknames. You know what I mean? And that's how people would know, only, those who know who they were, and, that way, law enforcement wouldn't be able to pick them up and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, that's why, nicknames and all that started coming. And like I said, the reason, they started like stealing and stuff like that was, they needed money. They weren't hiring the raza. They were getting abused and everything like that. They see their parents struggling and all that. And they just got tired of it. You know what I mean? So, what is it? What's the saying? When they get to pushing, you push back. You know what I mean? Don't push me because I'm close to the edge. You know what I mean? So they started pushing back. And sadly, it's a human trait. I have always said this is a human trait. Where the bullies, where the ones that are getting bullied end up becoming the bulliers. You know what I mean? Because they're full of a lot of anger, rage, and now, by them unleashing it now, back, made them feel better, made them feel, good. So now they were the ones that started like terrorizing them, you know what I mean? Because they got tired of them, the ones that are getting picked on. Like, now it's time for us to start pushing back, you know what I mean? And stop letting ourselves. So pretty much they created the monster, you know what I mean? All that abuse until finally they said no more, and it manifested into where we're at now, you know what I mean? The machine that it is, you know what I mean? With the whole drug sale, gun sale, shootings, murders, and all that. But originally, that's not what it was about. It was about the raza, protecting each other, having each other's back. Not only just the raza, but minorities in general. To not let nobody get picked on, to stand for when you see one of your homies, getting harassed and all that. You stand with them and have each other's back. It was a brotherhood. It was a family bond. You know what I mean? How it should be. But sad to say, greed is a very, very powerful emotion, and it does grip its hold on a lot of people. Greed is what creates the stealing, the murders, all the chaos and madness. It's all fueled by greed. You know what I mean? Whether it's the greed for wealth or the greed for power. You know what I mean? It's a high that spirals out of control. You know what I mean? But that is not the original reason why they started, was, because of that, and you had gangs like La Loma, Alpine, Macy's, Dogtown, Royal Saints, and groups like that of individuals, who would, stand united, and those barrios still exist till nowadays. You know what I mean? Obviously, it doesn't have the same fundamentals as when they originally started. Obviously it manifested into what we're at now. You know what I mean? You get with the times or you get left behind. It's sad and crazy. You know what I mean? Because the original reason why they started was, it was all about the raza and unity and stuff like that. It wasn't about no drugs and writing on walls and none of that. You know what I mean? That wasn't what being a gangster was about, back then. As time goes by, the greedy, egotistic, selfish homeboys, ended up, leading the charge, manipulating and, spinning the web their way, you know what I mean, to make it for what it is now, you know what I mean, and for whatever benefit they were gonna get out of it. because it always has a motive. You know what I mean? It's never just because, but a motive for their selfish means, not for just for the hell of it, or for the sake of the organization. It's always for them to get some type of benefit off of it. But yeah, that is the reason why gangs had started and formed. It wasn't for what it is, right now. That's not, what it meant to be a gangster, or why, why it started. It wasn't started to cause just chaos, just like randomly, just because they didn't care. You know what I mean? Somewhere along the line, the history gets lost, the lessons get lost, homies don't give the clecha, so you have a bunch of homeboys that are running around misguided. You know what I mean? With no clecha and just doing whatever the hell they want, running amok. You know what I mean? And when something runs wild, I mean, you're gonna get a whole lot of chaos. That's just how it is. But that's just why they started and stuff like that, and just my opinions on it. What did you guys think? Leave it in the comments. And Shadow, we out.